If you want to make this trip to Pandora, or aka play Avatar, the video game from '09, you gotta do this one thing. Leave the moral compass at home, bro. Don't bring it. Also, bring blinders, because you gotta put those on to be oblivious to certain things. Because you gotta make a morally wrong decision to truly enjoy this video game. Nostalgia, what are you talking about? What are you trying to get at? Well, I'm glad you asked that. That leads me to the punchline. One of the coolest things about this video game is you get to choose whether you side with the RDA, which is the humans, or the Na'vi, which is the avatars. But just like a person with Alzheimer's, you may be looking around asking, how did we get here? Well, you basically Pearl Harbored, unknowingly, a Na'vi village, dude. It's gone, and it's no more. So yeah, in one of the first few missions, you help triangulate these coordinates that locks in on this village. And that's how they find it and blow it up. And you don't find all this out from the RDA, no. You find this out from a mole inside the RDA, a sympathizer with the Na'vi. He's a fellow avatar shifter, and, after the airstrike, he's had enough of the RDA. You actually get tasked to find the mole, too. So, you eventually find out who it is. That's how you come across this information. He tells you. But at the same time, right after he tells you all this, the RDA Commander Falco, pulls up, and, both of them ask, oh, blast the other one and side with me instead of them. So that's when you really got to make the choice, the big ultimate decision. And in my humble opinion, the only right choice is the wrong one. You got to side with the RDA. Because, frankly, the Na'vi are just really boring in this game. And I hate saying that, but it really does just boil down to the difficulty level. Like, there really isn't any challenge to them when you're playing as them. You really just can mow the humans down, like, with ease. And also you're able just to run through certain areas, like, and that's what I found myself doing towards the end, because I was just ready to get it over with. Like, you really can just run through certain areas because you are, like, a lot faster, in my opinion, compared to the RDA side. So yeah, ultimately there's just no challenge to it. I feel like that, not saying it has to be Souls-like difficulty or anything, but you do need a little something getting your heart going a little bit, just something to take the edge off, for at least for me to enjoy a game. But even more disappointing than the difficulty factor and how much of a breeze it is probably the animals. The animals are a big letdown in this game. And when you think of the Na'vi, like when you're choosing who you want to play as, like, kind of think of the animals, like if you're going off the movies, like that's kind of their bread and butter. So you'd assume it'd be like one of the staple points of the game. Starting off with the Banshee, aka like the Flyer, it's really only a travel mount. It was really disappointing to me that you couldn't attack anyone with it. Not only that, it was also very janky flying. Like, it would just very often just turn in random directions and whatnot. But with that said, it might just be a me issue because I was playing this on an emulator on my PC. And I also had those issues with, like, the vehicles on the RDA side somewhat. But so again, I'll cut it some slack. It might just be like a me issue, but still just a little noteworthy. Lastly, about the Banshees, they also just weren't very present in the game. Like, they're in the very first few missions, and, like, you just fly around to get from point A to B, but it's about it. So unless you, like, kind of go back to, like, the starting area just to fly around on them, you don't really get exposed to them a whole lot. Beyond that, you only got the horse, which it's all over the place, but again, it's just a travel mount. You also have the Thanator, which is the panther-looking like thing, which really cool. But again, very limited exposure to it. You can attack with it, but again, just not in very many missions. The final creature I'll talk about is the giant Banshee. It's a Turok or whatever. It's from the movie too, but literally the only time you get to fly with it is the final mission. That's it. And it's like the shortest flight ever too. So I'm like, what was even the point of putting this in here? The first word that came to mind when thinking about the RDA and how I'm gonna articulate my thoughts about them, I would say the word that comes to mind first and foremost is overwhelming. Whether it's you getting ran up on by the little tiny dire wolves, which, just little, like, black jaguar looking wolves, or the Na'vi themselves, you get ran up on in this game, especially playing as the RDA. And let me tell you something, those little dire wolves, don't underestimate them, because they're a pain in the ass. I was dodging and rolling for my life trying to get away from them, because they just keep running up on you nonstop. Like, they're in packs of 5 or 10, but it feels like 100 at sometimes. So yeah, they were a pain in the ass, but they kept you on your toes and made the game fun and interesting. But these Na'vi, man, you know, when you play as them, you have certain skills, and like you have skills on the RDA side as well. But the Na'vi, in my opinion, they use those skills more than like when you play against the RDA. So these guys are turning invisible. They have like an invisible dash forward to you. They have like a skill that makes them super tanky and stuff. And I feel like they use that stuff all the time, man. And then again, kind of like they run in packs, dude. So they just run up on you with a gang and like they just start fucking jumping you. Like that's what they do. And there's a bunch of giant ass trees in this game too, and that's where kind of a few of the Na'vi hide out while you're getting jumped by the ones on the ground. You also have ones up on these trees just pegging you with these bows that, you know, the bows are bigger than you and the arrows are bigger than you, and anytime you get hit by one, you get knocked on your ass. And that's pretty much why you can't just run through certain areas or missions like you can as the Na'vi, because like you're just getting pegged from up top, you're getting pounded on the ground, like it just never ends. And how could I forget the plants? You also have plants that shoot artillery at you, basically. You also have plants that if you get too close to them, they just start spinning and chopping you up and knocking you back. And then you also have ones that release like these little swarm drone looking things that cut you up. There's also a mist one that does damage to you. So yeah, not only do you got all the animals and the Na'vi, you also got the plant life that's trying to attack you, which when you play as the Na'vi, you do not get attacked by the plant life unless you attack first, which is really nice touch, in my opinion. Some of you may be sitting there asking, why would I want that? That doesn't sound like a good time, but it is. I promise. It truly immerses you into like the Pandora world as well. But the antidote to all that is the vehicles. The vehicles kind of make the RDA, but they kind of need them too, because again, when you're fighting 10-foot tall crazy aliens, you need a little something to even the odds. I'm only going to talk about like the big three of the vehicles. The first one is the buggy. Again, that's just like a travel mount. It's pretty much just like the horse equivalent to the Na'vi. No weapons on it, but you do use it a lot just because it's a lot faster than walking or rolling around. The second one is the mech suit. Basically just like a 10-foot tall Iron Man suit, you know. You can't fly around in it or anything, but you have a giant machine gun that you run around with it while you're in it. This one allows you to put belt to ass to the Na'vi. It really levels the playing fields and you just run around mowing them down in it. Third, and definitely not last, the Scorpion. It's like just the giant helicopter flying thing. This thing was one of the most fun aspects of the game, to be honest. You got a machine gun and rockets. It was really smooth to control. I didn't have that jankiness like I did with the Banshees on the Na'vi. Again, could be the way I'm just playing this, so I'll give it some grace. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed every second I had access to these, and it is a very smooth experience, and you just can blow people up and fly low and mow the Na'vi down in this too. It's story time. Disclaimer before I get into it, it is not canon to the Avatar movie storyline. It is like the Avatar universe and stuff, but like it doesn't affect, or, you know, this didn't happen before the movies or anything like that. It does have a few characters or like actors from the movie inside the game, but again, it's not canon. It's not related story-wise. Yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about the story though, because there really isn't much story to it, or like dialogue even. Like really the whole thing just consists of you go talk to someone, they're like, hey, go do this. Go kill this person. Go collect these shards, and don't ask questions, you know? And it's just like, you're just kind of going with the flow. The RDA side is kind of funny though, because Commander Falco, like the leader, and like he's the one kind of goes rogue and he just has it out for the Na'vi. And as the more missions you do and you go talk to him, it just becomes more blatantly obvious he's just like a sack of potatoes and just wants to wipe these dudes out for whatever reason. So yeah, that's where like the oblivious factor comes in. Like the more you talk to him, the more you're like, all right, this dude's like, he's just out of his mind. Like, so you just have to like ignore some obvious facts or factors. He even tells you like, don't ask questions, and he later on threatens to start shooting mofos if they don't do what he wants. And then on the Na'vi side, I want to bring up my boy Beidamo. It's comical how much this dude hates you. Like, you save his life countless times, and it just doesn't matter to him. He's out to get you, and it gets to the point where it's like, all right, bro, like no matter what I do, like you're just put here just to fucking talk shit to me the whole time, and just so it's a little bit of like comic relief. But moral of the story: RDA bad guy, Na'vi good guy, just defending home. So sorry if my overview of the story is a little bit lazy, but the people that made the game and the story were a little bit lazy with it. So there's not much to talk about without kind of boring you. So that's just why I just skimmed over it, gave little juicy bits that I liked about it, and yeah, that's about it. The missions. There's nothing really special here either. Like, kind of goes hand in hand with the story, I guess. It's really just go kill these people, go collect these samples from the plants or animals, or go get these shards and bring them back, and we'll, you know, do whatever with them. It's pretty much the gist of it. That's all there is. One of my favorite little pieces of this game. It like genuinely is like the best cherry on top addition to a game that I've ever like experienced. It's conquest mode. So it's just like a little mini strategy game. You can access it at any like teleporter, whether you're on the RDA or Navi side, and it just shows like the planet in like a spear form, you know, and there's just a bunch of different little like territories that you try to like take over by producing units. And you have like 3 different units on both sides. Like you got the infantry, the heavy, and like the aerials on both sides again. And the cool thing about it is like you don't have to do it, but and you get points to buy all these units and whatnot by, you know, leveling up in the game. But the cool thing about it is the more certain territories give you certain bonuses, like for the in-game stuff too. So like you could get like, oh, plus 5% more damage or critical chance and, you know, yada yada health. So that was like a really cool, like the mini game actually affects the main game. So again, it was like a perfect little cherry on top, and I would definitely say to play it. But again, you don't have to. It's not like you need these certain boosts to be able to beat certain missions or anything like that. I do have to give major props to the armor in this game. You get probably around like 10 different sets of armor on the Navi and RDA side. And, you know, they give you like, you know, more protections and whatnot, like the more you unlock, and you just unlock it by leveling up. But they do look really good. And there's like, and you can choose whether you want to like go back to previous armor sets that you have, just like based off of looks and whatnot. So I do have to give it props there. I really did like that little touch of the game. The armors look really cool. The skills, kind of a letdown, nothing you haven't experienced before, you know, like, and both Navi and RDA kind of have like the same skills. So it's like you have like 8 different skills you can choose from. You can have 4 equipped at once. But again, it's just like, oh, this one heals you, this one gives you a defense boost, this one gives you a damage boost, you know, like there's really nothing like unique or special about it. On the RDA side, there is a skill where you can call in like an airstrike, which is pretty nice. And then again, there's a Navi skill that mirrors it, and like you call in like a swarm of animals. But when I played as them and used that, I think it was, again, this could have been like me because I was emulating it, but like it didn't really do any damage, so I wasn't a big fan of it. And then there's also a run, like there's no sprint in this. It's a skill, so I didn't really like that at all. There's also a decent selection of weapons, and you'll get like Mark 4 or 5 variants of that. So like they keep leveling up like the more you play and level up as well. So that was another nice little touch, and they look different. So they have different looks and visuals. So, and then on the Navi side, it was really cool because you got like the bow and arrow, you got a staff, you got dual wield swords. So again, another nice little touch. I liked it. That was one of the cooler aspects of the Navi, just running around with swords, chopping dudes up. Then to briefly touch on like the maps and the visuals, I guess. There is a decent amount of maps in this. I will give the game props for that. And then whether it's the RDA or Navi side, you kind of fast travel to each one via the Scorpion, like the flyer helicopter thing on the RDA side, or the Banshees. There's like a specific person you can go up to that has an icon that you can go and travel around. And I think for being almost a 20-year-old game, the visuals still hold up pretty well, even in today's standards. So, but be your own judge based off all the clips that have been in this video, you know? So just like how my time on Pandora came to an end, so do my thoughts. Should you play this game? Obviously, like I already told you, I think you should, as long as you stick with the RDA. Also, it's only like 10 or 15 bucks on eBay, so you really can't complain about the price. And also, your time. It only takes, I think it took me 6 hours to beat RDA sidewise, and then 8 on the Navi. So if you do choose to play as the Navi, it's a 14-hour-long game. So either way, it's really not that long or that time-consuming. And if you're like me, you played this as a kid, and you just kind of wanted to revisit some nostalgic childhood memories, or, you know, and I couldn't remember if I ever fully beat this game. So that's kind of the journey I'm going on right now, too, is just beating games I never did as a kid, and just kind of fulfilling that in my inner child. Thank you all for who watched this video. It really means the world to me. Definitely more on the way. Sorry this one took a little longer to get out. I know it was a big gap in between videos, but I got a full-time job too, and I also try to play other games that I enjoy, you know? So I appreciate you, and stay safe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace!